I was asked to create the Pokemon HP Up bottle or jar for a viewer. And so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to create the little jar and the lid and the image. All right, so here I am over in Blender 2.79 in the startup scene, and I've got my screencast keys on, and I'm going to switch over to cycles, and I'm going to select everything and delete it. 7 and 5, so I can look down from top view, and Shift A, and I'm going to bring in a circle. And I'm going to keep 32 vertices. Go into edit mode, and you can see my vertices right there. I'm going to hit 1 to look from the front, and let's create the jar. I'm going to hit E to extrude and pull up to about there. I'm going to select all my polys and control N because they were flipped, and let's seal off the bottom. Shift Alt and click the bottom row, E and S a little bit, E and S a bit more, E and Alt M. What have I hit? Alt M, merge at center. All right, so there's the bottom. We may need to do a bit of work on that. Let's create the neck. Shift Alt and click there. It's going to look from the front view. I'm going to hit E to extrude. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to hit S to scale to create the neck, and E, and I'll come up a bit more. This part's not even going to be seen. The cap is going to go over it. All right, now this edge right here is a little bit sharp, so I'm going to bevel it. Control B, pull back, and do that kind of a thing, and I'll roll my mouse up a couple of times. All right, now let's have a look at this in object mode with a subdivision surface on of 2, and we'll hit smoothing. All right, so it looks like a little bit of a jar. All right, cool. I think that's probably okay. I don't need to do any more work on that. It's debatable if we want to add a bit of thickness. When you use glass or a plastic, sort of a transparent material, you often will have to add solidify. Let's try it with and without, see how it looks. Let's create the lid now. Let's go Shift A, add a circle. It'll come down at my 3D cursor, same diameter as this. That's a good start anyhow. Let's bring it up, go into edit mode, and I'm going to scale it in just a little bit and pull it down. Imagine that my lid is right about there. I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm going to pull it up to about the height that I would want it, and let's close it off. E and S, in a little bit, E and S, let's come in a lot more. Let's do a little design on the top. Let's make it come down. So let's go E and pull down just a little bit, and then we'll close that off. E and S, E and S, E and Alt M, merge at center. All right, let's have a look at this with a subdivision surface on it and smoothing. That looks nice, but we can do a little bit more work. Let's go back into edit mode, and I think we should add an edge loop right here. Click there and just pull down, not too much though, and then have a look at that. This is a little bit nicer, but kind of smooth like that. This is nice, but it might be a little bit too smooth, so let's add an edge loop and bring it up to about there, and have a look at that. Still smooth, but it's a bit tighter. And we're going to have to do something about this. We're going to have to close it off and make sure it's the right diameter. Does that fit right? Do we want to scale Shift Z a little bit smaller? And maybe we'll make it thicker so that it sort of touches the neck of the jar. And the way we'll do that is I'll minimize the subdivision surface, and we'll add solidify. I'm going to bring it above the subdivision surface, and I'm going to just start cranking up the value like that till it touches. I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to drop an edge loop right down near the bottom, and I'll do one more in here. Maybe I'll pull it outwards because I'm not going to see the inside stuff. All right, just like that. So now it looks like it seals. Well, you know what? I'm going to hide this. It's a little bit too soft, so I think I need one more edge loop there, and then it'll look a little bit more like a real flat edge there. Now I want to do a design element on here. You'll see when you look at this one, then the grooves go up and down, up and down. It's hard to do that with subdivision surface, so instead of doing that, I'm going to drop an edge loop down about 2/3 of the way down, and then in face selection I'm going to Shift Alt and click all of these faces right there, and then I'm going to hit I twice, I, and I can pull my mouse in or out to change the size of these boxes. I want a little bit of space between them like that, and then I'm going to come over here under mesh tools, and I click extrude individual and pull down. just a little bit. Just pull your mouse down and they will start coming out. Now you can go in if you prefer, but I'm going to come out just a little ways. And then I'm going to add an edge loop, Control R, pull up, and an edge loop, pull down. And that is going to be it for the lid. Okay. Yeah, cool. Well, that's it for the modeling anyhow. Pretty much. Let's put in a plane, shift down there. S10, let's say, scale at 10. And let's give this a material right now so we don't forget. Let's just come over to the materials button here, tab, icon, click new, and I'm just going to leave diffuse and just darken it up right now. Now, if I hit Shift Z, which is the same thing as going to rendered, it's going to look pretty dark. So let's get in a lamp or two. Let's bring in a sun and let the sun shine. Okay, where's the front? All right, there's the front. Oh, where's the front again? All right. And let's just rotate this in the X a bit. And I'll come over here and I'll change this to 0.3 for the size. And the color, we can make it a little cream color and make this, I don't know, 3. Okay. Now, can we see anything else? Okay, we're starting to see it. That looks cool. All right, awesome. Save, save, save. We're going to be doing some more. Let's do some materials first. Okay, so I'm going to use the node editor. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my screen. I'm going to pull here and I'm going to hit T to close this toolbar, and over in this window, T to close that. And I'm going to switch this to the node editor. All right, and hit N to close that. All right, now I'm going to select the cap and I need to create a material. So I can either click new there or I can click new here, and it's going to do that. And you see it changed color a little bit. Now notice I don't have a camera in here yet, but it doesn't matter. It's put down this default sort of white. We're actually going to get rid of that. I'm going to go Shift A, shader, principled BSDF, and connect that to that. Now, still white. Well, that's because that's the base color. But in the diagram, the lid is sort of green with something else going on up there. So a good way of getting that color, you can color sample, is to bring the picture actually into Blender. So I'm going to grab right down here and I'm going to pull this up, and I am going to use my mouse wheel to scroll this along to the end and choose UV image editor, image, open image, and find that image if I can. Is it this? I don't know where it is. That's not it. All right. Well, let's go back and find it. There we go. You can bring it right into Blender, and you can then, you know, zoom in and scroll and pan, the same things as you would do here, you could do here. But now I have the image in there. So I can click on the base color and I can use the eyedropper and I can color select, you know, let's say I do it right there. And let's actually Shift Z and look at that. And I get, you know, a pretty similar color. I'm still feeling this cap is too short. There we go. I think I needed to do that. All right. So there we go. We got a similar color. You can adjust it. Let's go 0.15 on metallic for that. Just a little bit shinier, and maybe 0.4 on the roughness. That's good enough for what I want to do. All right, Shift Z. Okay, now we need a glass material. I don't think I'm going to color pick from this. It's just too weird for glass. So I'm going to close that off. So we need a glass. So let's click new, and we're going to get rid of that. We're going to be making the glass. So it's gone black right here. And this, by the way, is going to be glass. And so what I want to use is this for glass. Okay, I'm going to have glass, glossy, and layer weight in a mix shader. All right, so let's go add a mix shader here. And we need glass, glossy, glass, glossy. Both of those, this one here, this one here. Glass, glossy, layer weight, 0.02 maybe, 0.02. And layer weight is under input. So you find input, layer weight right here. We're going to make this 0.25 and drag Fresnel into the FAC. Let's change this color to something that we might like, and let's have a look at this. Now, this is again without any thickness to it. So we'll have a look and we'll see if we need to mess around with that, and chances are we will. You could, of course, then start darkening things up if you want, adjusting, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we got a glass, we got this, and by the way, we can come back here and label this as, I don't know, cap. Now we need to get the decal in there, and this is the slightly weird part. Okay, so I'm going to maximize that. So here's the thing. Because we have a subdivision surface on this, adding a label or decal is not always easy or exact. So what I want to suggest we do is add some edge loops to determine where we want our label. This entire area, I want my label. Now, I mean, I don't remember what the bottle looks like. Maybe it's a little bit less than that. Fine, we can do that. Okay, something like that. Now, you need a label. I draw my stuff in Flash because I don't have Photoshop, and I'm not very good with GIMP. So I drew this in Flash. All right, you can draw it in any graphics program, whatever image you want, but this is the kind of image for the HP up. Now, you know, maybe you don't like those particular colors. You could do them, you know, in a different color. You know, whatever. What color is it supposed to be? Purplish blue. It's hard to tell in these, you know, in these graphics. All right, so whatever. I'm just going to leave it. I'll leave it like that, and then I export this. You know, just make sure that the image is large. I'll just overwrite something there, and you know, make sure the image is large in the first place, and you have a relatively high resolution. So I don't know what graphics program you might be using, but I would just do it like that. So I've got an image, and I want to put that down on my model. Now, like I said, using subdivision surface does not lend itself to exactly placing decals very well. And so I suggest we do this. Select all of those faces and Shift D and P to make them a new object. What did I do? And there it is, but go back and get rid of the subdivision surface on that. So it's just like that. It's going to adhere tightly, and even if it looks like it comes off the jar a little bit, well, that's what labels are like. All right, so I don't have a subdivision surface on this anymore. Okay, I'm going to go into this, and this is where I'm going to be putting my label. So I'm going to have to UV unwrap this. But this is a cylinder, all right? And in order to get a flat image on this, the best way to do this is come to the back, go Control 1. This is the back view. And in edge selection, just select that central back edge and go Control E, mark seam. It's as if you would cut this like off of a soup can, and it would be a round piece of paper. If you cut it once more like that, you could lay it flat, and then you could paint on it or draw on it or whatever. So by marking the seam, that's like saying this is where to cut it. And these ones are assumedly where to cut it. So that's fine. Now, with that done, we can then A to select it. We got the whole thing. Let's split this again. T to close that, T to close that, switch over to the UV image editor. There's nothing going on there. I've selected this. I'm going to go U, unwrap, and I'll get a nice flat thing like that. I'm going to B and box select these upper vertices and drag them up in the Y. This is Y. So go GY and just pull up to about the whole distance. All right, we are getting ready to go here. So what we can do now is we are going to open up that image that we drew. And where is that going to be? That is the question. Pokemon video. That's what it is. There it is. And it's quite large, and it comes in, fills up that whole space. Shift Z. I don't see anything yet. All right. Well, we have to do some more work. So we're going to come over to the node editor, and to close that, And we are going to, let's find that piece. There it is right there. All right, now, right now, there's the glass. There's the glass. And that has the same material on it, okay? We need to create a new material for that. So I'm going to hit the plus, click new, and I'm going to call this decal. All right, and it's just white because it's got the default right down here. We're going to get rid of that, and let's come over and have a look at what we're going to do for decal. The image texture, that's what I drew in Flash or what you're drawing in whatever. Principled BSDF and that. All right, so let's do that. Shader, principled BSDF, connect that to that. So far so good. And now we need the image. Texture, image texture, color to base color. And it's in memory, just choose it there. Now, have a look. Okay, where is it? Well, we missed one step. We need to apply or assign this decal texture onto those polygons. So go in, select them, and go with under decal with that material selected, assign. And there it is. Now, it may not look good yet because we're going to do some adjustments. First of all, let's change the metallic to 0.25 or something. So it's got some, you know, shine. We can even change this to 0.3. You just experiment with what you like. May not see much yet. Let's go back into the UV image editor and Shift Z. And while we're looking at it, with your cursor here, A to select everything. And let's scale this in the X outwards. And you'll see it starting to shrink in. There you go. Okay. We can now, if we like that, we can close this up. And we can, let's save. Let's bring in a camera. Let's hit N and come up to near the top where we have lock camera to view, N to close that, 0 to look through the camera, and home button to maximize. And now we are looking at this through the camera. It's going to look very similar. We can do a bit more to make it look better though, and then we'll think about that glass. Right now the background is just dark, right? And I mean, it depends what your use is. You know, if you're bringing into a game, you've got lighting in the game and all, but if you're doing a render, you may want to have an environmental texture back, your environmental lighting. And so I'm going to click on the world here, use nodes, and under color, I'm going to click this dot and I'm going to choose environment texture, and I'm going to open an HDR image or texture that I found on the internet. So just search HDR images or textures, choose one that you like. I just arbitrarily grab that one, and now you will see it in the background, and you will see a lot more happening with your bottle. Now, I think we have, this looks a bit weird. I do think we need to try solidify. So let's select the glass, not the decal, and come over to the modifiers. Yeah, I got the right one because that's the one with subdivision surface. Let's just try solidify and leave it and see if that makes a difference. Doesn't that look, you don't get that streaking. It looks a bit better. I don't have to even apply it. I can leave it like that. And that's it. I've got a little bit of lighting, and I've got some lighting from the environment as well. The one final thing I could do is I could take this plane, look down on it, and go U, unwrap, and I could come over to the UV image editor, blah, 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 and I could open a texture that I found, that I have, whatever texture you want. I'll just use the same one that I usually use just to illustrate this, like this wood stuff here. If I look through the camera, I don't see it yet because I have to go into the node editor, and this is the material here for the plane. And so I could do it this way. I could go shader, principled BSDF, connect that as usual, and come over here, texture, image texture, connect the color to the color and choose the wood, and we now have our bottle sitting on wood. And you could then adjust some parameters and bump and stuff like that, but I'll just go over here and I'll come out of edit mode, and we are looking through the camera, and this is what you would get. And you probably see some wood in the background, and then you could just take a render of that. All right, so I think I'll just go ahead and I'll do a render, and then we'll come back. Okay, here's my render. I just position things a little bit differently. You gotta experiment with your render settings. Use a lot of samples. Okay, I didn't use very much to get it nice and sharp, and with your lighting and with the various aspects of the principled BSDF, the metallic and roughness, till you get the effects that you really want. Anyways, hope that helped.